Alrighty, I guess this is gonna be part 20. Might as well just keep it going. Too bad I can't change my people from that menu. Oh well. Continue the game, sure. The Gazelle Ministry says the body of God has been recovered. The anima and the animus have all been obtained. All that is left for us to do is change into the animus and become one with the mother persona. Krellian says that is incorrect. The ministry says, what do you mean, Krellian? What did you just say? What are you doing, Krellian? Have you gone totally insane? What are you doing to the memory banks? Do not touch them. We cannot survive without them. Krellian says, you are the only ones who could have activated the key. Now that it's activated, I don't need you. I'm having you erased. How dare you, says the ministry. Krellian says, the only obstacle that kept me from my goals was Cain. He was the one person who had total control of the people, and thus was my greatest nemesis. But the only person who could terminate Cain was Cain himself. That's why I created a copy of him. Ramses acted exactly as I predicted, killing Cain. Now there is no one who can stop me, and I'm not interested in your power or authority. Did you really think you were acting on your own free will? You were all just parts of the system. Created only as weapons of invasion and oppression, you are just terminal interface weapons. We can become God, and you're, says the ministry, as it fades into obscurity. Krellian says, God? Who said you'd become God? What impertinence. We are humans. We were created to be terminal interfaces of God. It is the same for you, who were once humans. Man cannot become God. We can only entrust ourselves to God. The ministry says, ridiculous, going against the mother. Krellian says, I've not gone against her. This is the will of the other mother. The ministry says, you think you can eliminate us and still revive God? Krellian says, it can be done. Your genes were scattered in order to keep the world alive after the fall and days of destruction. Those genes live on today within the humans. The anima vessels and the recipients of their alignment, the animus, and also the persona. By combining these with my nanomachines, humans will become living beings very much the equivalent of you. Actually, they may far surpass you in becoming worthy terminal interfaces for God. So you are no longer of any use to me. Deus, the physical manifestation of God, only wants results. The means are insignificant to him, so this is my arc plan, my project, Noah. May all your worries cease. Rest in peace, ancestors of mortal man. It was trying to say Krellian's name, but, you know, he basically killed that thing. Now it is just you and I, Sophia, says Krellian. Or Krellian, I don't know. Faye says, I was powerless. All I could do was stand by and watch as they took Ellie from me. I am powerless. Wise man says, what are you doing? Faye says, it's you. I wasn't able to beat Graf. I didn't stand a chance against him. It was obvious from the start. It was impossible to try to defeat a monster machine like that to begin with. And Ellie, why was she so damn foolish? I implicitly told her not to come. I told her to run away. She had to have known it was a trap. Wiseman says, Yes, you won't be able to defeat him like that, as long as you continue fighting with that kind of an attitude, that is. Wiseman continues, the reason you lost and the young lady was taken was because of your pride. Weren't you depending far too much on the power of your machine? Not to mention that new id power you're now able to control. What is Graf's source of power? His machine, his technique, his experience? I do not think so. It is his feelings, his heart. His feelings, they're both dominated by his resentment and hatred of this world. That hatred is the source of his power. Your feelings weren't focused enough to fight him off. That is why you could not win. Your feelings must be in the right place. That is strength. I'm not surprised you lost, seeing as you do not understand the true meaning of strength. Faye says, Wiseman. Wiseman says that young lady, the only thing in her heart was her desire to save you all. She set aside her fear and piloted the machine. It was because she had such strong feelings that you are all still alive. That's what I think. Of course, you've been defeated. However, that doesn't mean it's over. How do you plan on responding to her feelings? It is now your turn to save her, is it not? Wiseman says, well, what are you gonna do, Faye? And then fades away. Faye says, I'm going to... Anyway, in order to save Ellie, we began to search desperately for her whereabouts, and 2 weeks later we found her. Using the data obtained from Raziel and his own nanomachine technology, Krelian had begun the construction of God's Ark Merkava. Its completion was imminent. To prevent its activation and to rescue Ellie, we head for Merkava. Faye says, you again? Are you girls thinking of going in there too? Dominia says, don't get any wrong ideas there. We're here to help our commander. Miang and Krelian have been manipulating his emotions for the sole purpose of eliminating the Emperor. We simply want to free the commander from those bonds so that he may be saved. It's neither for the sake of the world, nor for the sake of your girlfriend, Eliam. Dominia says, we have no intentions of fighting on the same side as you. Faye says, fine, you have your own battles to fight, and we have ours. Let's leave it at that. But if things get out of hand, head back. We'll handle it. Dominia says, we'll make you eat those words. Wait and see. And the girls leave. We entered inside of Merkava, and while fighting back units of weapons that self-regenerated through the use of nanomachines, we headed for the central core. And then, once again, Ramses appeared before us. Oh my. Looks like the shaft connects to the outside, but we don't have any time to turn back. Let's hurry ahead. What would you like? Let's check out the gear stuff. I think everybody was set there. Let's just check. me see. Okie dokie. I've been waiting for you, Faye. Faye says, Ramses? Ramses says, Faye, if only you hadn't been born. We're gonna settle this now. Faye says, stop it, Ramses. What reason is there to continue fighting? Who are you fighting for? Why do you always have a bone to pick with me? Tell me why. Ramses says, it's all because of you. If only you hadn't come in and destroyed my prospects in life. My life was given to me within a nanoreactor in Krellian's lab to be born as the superior being above all humans, but then... Krellian says, this time your body is young. The previous one got too old, and the name? Karen, but individual names have no meaning to me. So what brings you here? Karen says, is that thing inside the nanoreactor there the one? Krellian says, huh? Oh, recognition code 0808191, Ramses. The Emperor's been told it's a prototype for an artificial contact. Karen says, what's its status? Krellian says it has entered the so-called first growth stage. From now until the binding, its growth will be several times faster than that of an ordinary human, but its psychological development will be a little difficult to control. It is a replica, so that is to be expected. Karen says, it's moving. Can it hear us? Krellian says, yes, it already has a will of its own. Karen says, then I have a better way. Let us dispose of it. We do not need this. We have my child. My child will be 4 this year. Krellian says, you're having a child is significant? Karen says, yes. I checked it out. There is no mistake. It's a contact. Krellian says, what's its name? Karen says, my child's name is Faye. So, you understand what this means? Krellian says, a corresponding antitype is... Karen says, yes, probably already born somewhere. The final one. Krellian says, then this thing is worthless. Karen says, yes, totally useless. Karen laughs and says, chase after it, boy. A love that's unattainable for you no matter how hard you try to pursue it. Until then... Ramses says, because of your existence, I was discarded. I was destined to be the representative of God, having the might of the Emperor. I was destined to be the ultimate existence, having the power to exercise absolute control over all, but I lost it all because of you. Faye says, my mother. How do you know her, Ramses? Dominia says, Commander, please stop this. If what you say is true, Then that is even more of a reason not to fight. You were just used by Krelian. Ramses says, silence. You dare to censure me? I saved you from becoming a test subject, and now you turn on me. Dominius says, you're mistaken. We only think of your best interests. Ramses says, silence. Ultimately, only I can help myself. I'm the only one that can correct this. Ramses says, this is the end for you. On guard, here I come, Faye. Oh my, it's getting filthy in here. Oh, are you fucking shitting me? Of course. Oh boy. Whatever. Definitely booster. That is dead. I got a golden vest. How fancy. Faye says, what's this? What's this? There's some of in the air. What's this? There's piss inside your hair. I can't believe my eyes, you motherfucker. Holy shit, there's a hole right there. Faye says, what is this place? This is where Kar was born and where his hatred of you was forged. Faye says, who's there? Faye says, what is this? That's Ellie. Faye says, Ellie. Krelian says, I would have liked to have been able to commend you for making it here, but your efforts were all in vain. The resurrection of Deus is imminent. Sacrificing this girl will bring about the awakening of God. Faye says, what are you talking about? Why does Ellie have to be sacrificed? Krellian says, there's no need for you to know. For all of you, it will all end here. Faye says, ah! That gear looks a lot like Faye's mother, but it's opiomorph. Miang says, heh, odd of you, boys. Let's see if any of those spells work. Yeah, we're gonna just boost her. We'll boost him. And let's just do system id. Alright. Says, my, aren't we powerful? And she is dead. Or something. Miang says, well then, let's start over from the beginning. You think you can beat me this time? Faye says, I thought I defeated you. Krellian says, unless you can decompose her atomic structure, you don't stand much of a chance. Normal attacks are futile against one who has the ability to regenerate using nanomachines. Miang says, now the time has come for the Great Awakening. Satan says, it's our Omnigears. Faye says, damn, what's going on? Huh? Is that? Faye, our Omni, no, that's not it. Is that our Anima Relics? Satan says, is it trying to detach the Anima Relics from our Omnigears? Deus is swallowing up our Anima Relics. Satan says, it seems the Anima Relics have fallen into the hands of the enemy. Miang says, this is the true meaning of the Anima Relics, to attain the respective animus and return to the persona. The Anima Relics are really one set of parts that make up Deus, the physical manifestation of God. They regain their original powers or functions by aligning themselves with their destined partner. An Omnigear that has lost its respective Anima Relic is but a puppet. It becomes a mere vessel or container in which there are no contents. Krellian says, and this girl too was destined to become one with God. You see, Eliam is really one of the parts of God as well. Faye says, what the hell are you talking about? Krellian says, put simply, you served to help bring all the parts of God together here for me. You're a bunch of stupid fools? It's as if you're all clowns. Miang says you believed the legend of how our world and the universe was created, but the Ministry and I fabricated that very myth a long time ago to suit our purposes. Faye says that's a lie. How can that be true? Miang says, I think you'll find that your friends' Omnigears are all dead too. I'm talking about your friends who split up and took a different path than you into this place. They were all parts of God that disassembled in the past, but once again, are all gathered here. Krellian says, yes, it is indeed the time for the resurrection of God. What was it all for? Everything that I've done up until now. Faye says, Ramses? Krellian says, it's just you. Miang says, what are you doing here, Car? Ramses says, what about me? My existence, what was its purpose? Miang says, there was only one purpose, to eliminate Emperor Cain. Cain's will had become too much like that of the humans. He was too concerned about them. He had forgotten his mission to revive God. That is why you were created. You were only made to remove our main hindrance, Cain. But as the original living being, Cain had absolute power. To make you turn on Cain, it was necessary to focus your mind on a single point. However, being an artificial life form, you were mentally unstable. That is why we used Faye's existence. Resentment. That is the source of your strength. And you have excelled superbly at fulfilling our expectations of you. But we no longer have any more use for you. Haven't you realized that yet? You're a piece of trash. And being the reject that you are, why don't you just leave? And then she laughs at him. Ramses says, what was I born for? What was I living for? Krellian says, a pathetic excuse for a life. You're not even human. And then he laughs at him too. Miang says, now what to do with all of you? Well, I can't just kill you all, seeing as you've all served me so well. So as a reward, I'll allow you to be sacrificed, to be assimilated into Deus along with this girl. Apparently, Ramses has killed Miang. Miang says, good, this is how I wanted it, Car. I'm fated, so as not to be able to kill myself. Now all my wishes have come true, thanks to you. Ramses says, Miang. Ramses starts screaming and stabs Krellian. Bart says, Faye, sorry we're late. Our Omnigears broke down. Anyway, let's hurry up and save Ellie. Faye says, yes, I know. Faye says, hang in there, Ellie. I'm letting you down now. Ellie apparently has shot Faye. Well, Miang, rather, as Ellie is now Miang. Faye screams. Citan says, Faye, hang in there. Billy says, she took my gun. Bart says, why did you do that, Ellie? Citan says, Ellie, what happened to you? How could you? Bart says, don't tell me she's been brainwashed. Krellian says, it has nothing to do with brainwashing. Krellian says, the majority of my body is comprised of a nanomachine colony, not only for longevity, but also to unify with the mother. Don't be surprised, this much damage can be recovered rather quickly. Citan says, unify with the mother? Krellian says, that girl, Eliam, is our mother. Ellie says, yes, I'm the mother of all humans. Faye says, Ellie? Bart says, what are you babbling on about? Snap out of it, Ellie. Ellie says, you're as dense as usual, but I don't blame you. So be it. I will explain to you all about it. Ellie says this Deus, the one you call God, is an interplanetary invasion weapon system that was built in ancient times by humans from another planet. It was created as an automatic weapon which could act upon its own will to take control of a targeted planet. But you should have known this much from looking at the Roselle records. Ellie continues, anyway, during a test run, Deus became uncontrollable. It released its power and annihilated a whole planet. The creators of Deus found its immeasurable power to be too much of a threat and hence forcibly shut it down. In order to analyze the cause of the problem, its core was dismantled and placed on an interplanetary e-migrant passenger ship to be transported to another planet. Becoming aware of this, the disassembled Deus resisted. It tried to take over the passenger ship that was transporting it. However, as a last line of defense against the escape of Deus, its creators unexpectedly destroyed the whole ship, sending it crashing into this planet. Deus knew that it would not be able to get away from the explosion or the imminent impact, and so it detached its core from the Zohar power reactor. Faye says, Zohar? Ellie says, yes, Zohar. It is what drives all the gears on this planet. It is the master generator that transmits its energy to the slave generators in our gears. It is also the source of all ether power that the inhabitants of this planet utilize. By utilizing the energy displacements caused by actualizing potential future phenomenon, this Zohar modifier has the ability to produce infinite amounts of energy. Bart says, the source of all our ether power. Satan says, are you saying all our energy comes from that one power reactor or engine? Ellie says, yes, but there is more. The core that was detached from Zohar, the biological computer Katamani, crashed onto this primitive planet. It activated Persona, its life support plant that can generate organic material. Using this, it prepared for itself a genetic-based system for the day when Deus would be resurrected. Thus, the first humans were created from there, Emperor Cain and the elders of the Gazelle Ministry. Rico says, are you saying the Emperor and the Gazelle Geezers were people born from Deus? Ellie says, do you know why the Gazelle Ministry desired the anima relics and your bodies? Well, here's the reason. Before becoming human, the bodies of the Ministry were once part of the organic elements in the core circuit that made up Deus. There were two types of organic elements. The female type was called anima, while the male part was called animus. There were also created the added ability to become mobile weapons by merging with machinery that was suited for use as terminal interface weapons for Deus. In other words, those Omnigears that you were using were one form of such weaponry. The Ministry, which were animus, were to become one again with their separated anima at the time of the resurrection of God. But in a war 500 years ago, they all lost their physical bodies. It was then that they decided to extract their own genetic factor from certain individuals of their human descendants who carried the appropriate sets of DNA. Also, each of them could become one with their respective anima again. Maria says, descendants? Bart says, then we're all? Ellie says, yes, you humans are all descendants of Cain and the Gazelle Ministry. They were born from the persona, gave birth, and propagated. They followed their inbuilt program to someday resurrect the heavily damaged Deus. Satan says, all the people in the world were created solely to resurrect Deus? Ellie says, yes, but it wasn't just to restore its old body. More than half of Deus is constructed of biological parts. Do you remember those mutated humans? Those are all people who were destined to become replacement parts for Deus. Billy says, we humans are parts for God? Ellie says, yes, almost all the people are destined to become parts for Deus. But you people gathered here are all different. You could say you escaped that destiny by existing through multiple generations. In actuality, there wasn't enough parts for Deus, but Krellian compensated for what was lacking. The reduction in the number of parts was due to humans living through multiple generations. But that deficiency in the human factor was made up for by the nanomachines created by Krellian. Not only that, but his nanomachines added additional functions. Deus has thus evolved into the perfect weapon. Faye says, Ellie, what has happened? Why do you know all of this? Ellie says, I am Miang, the keeper of time, the representative of our god Deus. I was born to guide the people toward the path of the resurrection of Deus. Bart says, that's ridiculous. Miang was just... Ellie says, you're limited in your ability to understand. Miang's factor exists within all women. The one who transcends the generations, the caretaker of humans. When the previous one dies, somewhere another Miang is awakened. It is programmed into all women's DNA to be that way. Who inherits the duty is just a matter of probability, Faye. That Miang over there and I are the same existence. We are all parts of Deus, all caretakers of humans. Ellie says, let us end this discussion now. Deus has awakened. I am one of the parts that comprises Deus. Hence, I must become one with it. Satan says, Ellie, why did it have to be you? If Miang is a part for Deus, why did it not happen earlier? Krelian says it's still not enough for her just to have awakened. Although she may be Miang, she still isn't the true Miang. Satan says, the true Miang? Ellie says, let's go, Krelian. All that is left to do is to vanquish this planet's civilization and return it to how it was. Then I can complete my unification with the final fragment of Deus, the Zohar modifier. The power reactor that fell upon this planet and became our genesis and now our apocalypse. Satan says, the eradication of civilization? What is the purpose of doing that? Ellie says, who knows? The creations of God will someday be a hindrance. That is why they must be eliminated. I'm just programmed to act in this way. Krelian says, come, it is time for the awakening of the true mother. Faye says, please wait, Ellie. Ellie says, farewell, Faye. May you have a peaceful awakening. Ellie, says Faye. Satan says, wait, Faye. Do not release the system. Bart says, Satan, wait, we are only endangering ourselves. Let's get out of here. And that big silver thing explodies a mountain or something. My, my. Satan says, God, the interplanetary invasion weapon Deus, has awakened and its arc Merkava is activated. Deus began to absorb one after the other the mutated people destined to be its parts. While the non-mutated would eventually only become a threat to it, to exterminate us and our civilization, it set into action. The planet's surface was devastated by Merkava and the weapons born from out of it called the Seraph Angels. While pursuing the newly awakened Deus, we chanced upon Faye, whose whereabouts had hitherto been lost, along with his gear Waltall, discovered together at the place where Merkava was originally located. We were overjoyed by Faye's return, but it was short-lived. For some unknown reason, Faye was found in a state of suspended animation. He did not regain consciousness. The people of Shivat and we ourselves feared a relapse of Faye's, Id's power, and had no choice but to put Faye into carbonite freeze. They Han Solo'd him. Satan says, Your Majesty, why do the people of Shivat fear Faye so much, even if Graf and Id's power are comparable? Zephyr says, it's not that we fear him. We fear the error we ourselves committed, and now we are simply trying to put a lid on it. Satan says, the error that you committed? Zephyr says Shivat instigated a battle 500 years ago to gain our independence from Solaris. However, we became overcome with a lust for power. Fearing the war-torn people's will would no longer be with Shivat, but with the Nisan Mother, and that the people would assemble under Sophia, the Council of Elders of Shivat back then made a deal with Solaris. Citan says a deal? Zephyr says yes. At the time, Solaris, or the Gazelle Ministry, to be exact, were at odds with a woman who held the real power behind the scenes. Citan says, would that happen to have been Liang? Zephyr says most probably it was. Fearing the increasing power of the masses assembling in Nisan, the Gazelle Ministry schemed to hand over to us their antagonist Miang and promised a division of the rulership over the Earth's surface. But in exchange, we had to give them the rebel army that had assembled in Nisan and also their patron Sophia. Zephyr continues, the leaders of Shivat accepted, and it was decided that Nisan would be the location of the final decisive battle with Solaris. Shivat did not participate in that battle, thwarted by the awesome numbers of the Solarian army, and with their path of retreat cut off, the Nisan rebel army ran out of options and was destroyed. Caught up in the middle of this was Lacan, Bart's ancestor Roni, myself, and Krelian. Citan says you were also there? Zephyr says yes. Surrounded on all sides, we were prepared to die, and then the rebel force's flagship appeared with Sophia on board. She sacrificed herself so as to create a path for our retreat. Sophia's ship headed straight for the enemy's main ship on a suicide attack. Zephyr says, thanks to Sophia's sacrifice, we were able to survive. However, her death forever changed the fate of two men. Krelian, who followed closely under her as the leader of the Nisan Sex militia, completely lost faith after calling out to a god that would not respond. Krelian said, I will create a god with my own hands. Those were the last words he uttered before he disappeared. In Lacan, he resented himself for not having the power to do anything while she died in front of him, so he began to search for the legendary power. Citan says, legendary power? Zephyr says, God's resting plate, Mahanan, the source of divine wisdom, Raziel, and the anima relics which were created by that very wisdom. Besides these, there is one more legend. Citan says, that is? Zephyr says, Zohar. Citan says, that has the same name as the Zohar modifier, the power reactor that Miang spoke of, saying it was the infinite energy source of God Deus. What she claimed is also the source of our ether powers and the driving force of all our gears. Zephyr says, it would have to be one and the same thing. It is the place that contains the ultimate source of this world's power. It is said that only he who has the correct destiny would be able to discover its location. Losing all faith in humanity, Lacan sought after its power. Lacan became Graph, and the world collapsed. This tragedy happened because of the people's lust for power. I must take part of the responsibility for not having been able to stop it. And now Faye, the one who has the same power as Graph. We just wanted to seal up that dreadful power that arose from our own sinful deeds. Graph, the man once known as Lacan, sought after the power of Zohar. The one who has the same power as Graph, Faye. I had this premonition that Faye too would awaken and seek out that power, and that presentiment became reality. Faye says, where am I? Who am I? Is this my memory? Doc, Bart, Rico, Billy, Wiseman, Graph, everyone, my memories. Ellie? Mother? Who are you? I'm surprised. That's pretty clever. You are id? I misjudged you. I didn't expect you. The fake personality would create a fourth persona. Fourth persona? He can't feel anything. He's shut up inside your ego. The pressing facts and truths you won't face. You're afraid of them, so you desire to completely shut yourself off from the outside world. And so you formed a fourth persona, a fourth Fae. The name doesn't matter. He's the one on the stage. He's the one who's in control of our body. But it's a useless form of resistance. Come with me. Wait, what are you doing? He has the key. I merely want to borrow it. I've got to go somewhere. Are you coming too? Ronnie says, come on guys, eat up. You haven't been able to get this kind of food around here lately, have ya? Ronnie continues, well, this is also due to my business savvy. Renee says, what's wrong, Lacan? You look kinda down. What's bothering you? Are you worried about something? Lacan says, it's nothing, I'm just thinking about painting Sophia. I don't know why I agreed to do her portrait. Renee says, Sophia, you mean your childhood friend who's now the Holy Mother of Nissan? Lacan says, she's not really a childhood friend. I just made her acquaintance at the monastery near my home when I was a child. She went to the clinic there for convalescence. Lacan says, she was frail. Renee says, so what are you worried about painting her for? Lacan says she does not wish herself to become a symbol of the sect. Actually, it seems she wasn't interested in having her portrait painted at all. But when she heard I'd be the painter, she agreed. That's what I don't understand. Ronnie says, I see. Then she must like you. Lacan says, what are you talking about? Ronnie says, that's how women are, right, Krellian? Ronnie says, hey, Krell. Krellian says, huh? Renee says, what's up? You're not having any? It's ready to eat. Krellian says, ah, yeah. Ronnie says, the Holy Mother of Nissan, huh? What are you out to, offend divine providence or something, Lacan? Lacan says, cut it out. It's not like that. Lacan says, what? You've gotta lighten up a little, says some unknowable voice. Krellian says, Sophia first showed me that books are the best way to calm the heart, and now I'm hooked on reading. I'm not trying to brag, but I've learned a lot of things I never knew before. Lately I've been reading this. Lacan says, what is it? Krellian says, something I borrowed from Melchior. It's about a form of molecular engineering, nanotechnology. I believe it's a book found in the ancient ruins of the Zeboim civilization. It's a copy of someone's research report, but it's incomplete. I think there were even more wonderful things written in it, but we'll never know now. Ellie says, what's wrong? You don't look so good. Lately you've seemed melancholy almost every day. Has something happened? Lacan says, I don't know, I just can't paint right now. Sorry, but do you mind if we stop here for today? Ellie says, I see. It's not good to push yourself too hard. Why don't you rest up for a little while? I'll have Krellian take you. Krellian says, even so, there was a time when I did some pretty vicious things. I lashed out at random. Everyone around me feared me. Even my friends. I lived a life surrounded by people who looked at me with fear in their eyes. Krellian continues, but she was the only one who wasn't afraid of me. She would just smile. Peace of mind. She was the one who taught me that was and how I could receive it. She taught me how to live as a human. Krellian says, what are you doing, Lacan? Lacan says, oh, it's you, Krellian. I was just thinking I'd stop painting the portrait. Krellian says, why stop now? Lacan says, it's the circumstances. I shouldn't be painting her at a time like this. Lacan says, eventually she too must stand at the front lines. Krellian says, is that really the problem? Lacan says, nothing. Krellian says, Lacan. Lacan says, her smile, it's killing me. The more she smiles, the more I feel my very being become insignificant. Inside my heart there is this empty existence. Other than painting, I have no worth. Yet she continues to accept my presence. I feel like I'm getting smaller and smaller. Lacan says, I didn't have this feeling in the beginning. I just wanted to paint her one more minute, one more second longer. I wanted to keep on painting forever, but suddenly I couldn't. As the picture neared completion, the empty part of me started to manifest itself in my brush strokes. I was meant to be painting her as she really is, but this picture is my own self. My empty self has begun to appear within there. That's why I've got to stop now. Krellian says, your own self? You're just running away. You can't bear it when she smiles at you. By painting her portrait, you notice the gap between your own inner emptiness and her inner abundance, and you cannot fill that gap. That's why you're quitting your painting. You're refusing her. Even so, you still can't bring yourself to leave her, can you? In spite of that, why is it that she continues to smile at you? You who can't accept her feelings. You who won't accept her feelings. Krellian says, tell me why. If it was me who was receiving such feelings... ... Krellian says, you're neglecting yourself too much. Why aren't you kinder to yourself? He appears to be speaking to Ellie/Sophia. Ronnie says, is this really her true expression? Lacan says, yeah, to people who don't know her that well, I guess. Ronnie says, her smile, I don't know. The smile in this picture is somehow different from the one that she usually shows us. I realize Lacan's feelings are in there, but I don't think she has ever opened herself up and shown her inner self to others like this before. Ronnie continues, you've been painting such a beautiful expression of Sophia. I just can't see the reason why you want to stop. Lacan says, beautiful? Forget it. This picture, it's anything but beautiful. Ronnie says, Lacan, you say you're empty. Then why do you come along with us? What we've been doing up till now are not just acts of mercy, it's a fight for freedom. Time and again, you've been through life-threatening situations with us. A man who has nothing in his heart couldn't do that kind of thing, right? Lacan says, Ronnie, you're giving me too much credit. As long as you do something to keep yourself occupied, you can ignore the hollowness inside. Lacan continues, from the beginning, my very existence itself was emptiness. It wouldn't matter if I were to die right now. You live, you die, that's all. Ronnie says, pessimistic as usual, Lacan, and now you're lying. Ronnie says, it's just that you're not good at expressing your own feelings. You're not empty, she knows that. That's why she shows only you her true smile. Lacan says, I don't deserve to see her true smile. She's the hope of the people, their support. There is so much more for her to do. Lacan says, why would she open her heart to a mere artist like me? Renee says, bro. Hey bro, what are you doing here? Ronnie says, what's up? Zephyr says, the Council of Elders of Shivat issued a decision. Tomorrow we will leave for Soylent. Ronnie says, Soylent, that's in Solaris. Renee says, yes, and Sophia will come with us. Krellian says, that's ridiculous. The refugees are still increasing. We cannot afford to have Sophia leave Nissan. And going to Soylent, that's just plain foolish. It's too dangerous. What are the elders thinking? Zephyr says, no, it wasn't the council's wish. It was Sophia's will. It appears that she's expressed this desire herself. Colleen says, that can't be. What is she thinking? Renee says, originally we talked about it being just us. Krellian says, just us? Lacan says nothing. Krellian is calling out for Sophia. Krellian says, Lacan, what are you doing? You keep back. I knew we couldn't leave Sophia in your care. I'll protect her, even if it costs me my life. Ronnie says, why don't you get some rest, Krell? You haven't slept since the day before yesterday, have you? You shouldn't do that to yourself. Krelian says, I'm fine, it's not a problem. Ronnie says, look, I'll watch over her, so you go to sleep. What will we do if you fell ill? Ronnie continues, what will we do if you also fall ill? Do not forget you are the head of the sect's military forces. Krelian says, okay, I suppose you're right. Lacan is left in the room alone with Ellie and says, Ellie, I'm so sorry. Lacan says, it was my misjudgment that did this to you. Lacan says, I was terrified. It was like you could see right through me. Your eyes, that look. That was me, that was being reflected back in your eyes. I was looking at myself and thus painting myself. I couldn't stand it. So that's why, oh Ellie, what in the heavens did you find inside of me? When you wake up, I think I'll ask you. On second thought, no. I don't want to burden you with my concerns. Besides, I wouldn't be able to ask you. One look into your eyes and I can't say a thing. I wouldn't even be able to tell you how I feel. Sophia says, you're the sweetest person. Lacan says, Ellie. Ellie says, you are someone who cannot bear to see others hurt by your own actions. So you hold everything in and bear all the burden. If you get hurt in the end, you think that's fine. Ellie says, that's what I like about you. Lacan says, stop, don't say that. If you become just another human, everyone will... ... Ellie says, humans aren't that frail, you know. They don't need a symbol who is just appearances only. I believe that if you have light in your heart, you can overcome any hardship. What I've been doing is simply showing people that light exists in the hearts of everyone. I'm just a woman, and to fulfill my womanhood, I am prepared to throw away everything, even this position. I'm just playing the role of Sophia, but I am still me. I haven't changed. I'm a cowardly, selfish crybaby. I'm still the same. Ellie says, could you live a lie like that and still be happy? I don't want to do that. Ellie continues, oh Lacan, I want to live more honestly with myself, to be able to tell the man that I love that I do love him, and I don't care if I get hurt or rejected. You only have one life. I don't want to turn around later and regret not having done such things. Lacan says, It appears Krelian's outside listening. Ugh. And he's jealous because he's not Lacan. Krelian says, do you think I'll let it end here? We are not their possessions. Krelian says, Sophia, what are you doing? Sophia says, I'm ending this. You won't need to fight anymore. So Krelian, please open your fist, and with your open hand, gently hold the people who will continue to live. Lacan says, don't be foolish. We'll help you escape. Please stop. Sophia says, thanks, Lacan, but sorry. There's no other way. Lacan screams out, Ellie. Sophia says, people support each other to live. It's what brings us happiness. So share that happiness, and please, Lacan, live. It appears she, suicide bombed her aircraft into the enemy. Lacan screamed out, Ellie, as the explosion occurred. Krelian says, we were sacrificed as pawns. In order to protect their own authority, Sophia was... He trails off. He says, is this the ideal world we've been searching for? What have we been doing? heading towards Sophia's ideals? Is this our salvation? Krelian says, this isn't fair. Sophia was sacrificed for those bastards. Sophia said, if you just have faith, the path to what you hope for will open. But look at reality. God didn't answer our prayers. Is that because we didn't have faith? Even if we didn't have faith, Sophia did. Why did she have to be sacrificed? Is God dead? Is he just not there? Maybe he never existed to begin with. Sophia says, faith in God. Do not look for it on the outside, for it is something one must find from within oneself. Krelian says, I see. That's it. If God doesn't exist in our worlds, then I'll create him with my own hands. Lacan says, Krelian. Krelian says, Sophia, please guide me. I will destroy all such false pretenses of love for you. Ronnie says, we need to gather all our surviving comrades. We'll never beat them if we fight them individually. So let us create a country that can someday stand up against them. Ronnie says, what are you going to do, Lacan? Lacan says, and then trails off. Lacan calls out for Ellie. Miang says, if only you had power, you could have saved her. Miang says, you want it, don't you? Unrivaled power. Miang says, don't you want to become the absolute being? Lacan says, there, this is what I've been sought after. This is what I've been seeking after. But wait, that's not what I want. No, this is my very desire. Live. So this is where Faye is being held. He deserves it. Dan says, let me pray on his weeping face as if it were an idol. Ha, as if I would. Dan says, yeesh, what is this? Dan says, this is terrible. No matter what, this is going way too far. He's still alive. How could you possibly be? You're human too, aren't you? Darn. Faye, oh Faye, says Dan. There's crying in the background. Dan says, huh? Dan says, Midori, it's you. Don't scare me like that. Dan says, crying? Who's crying? You mean our friend Faye is crying? Midori says, angry, hurt. He'll wake up soon. It's calling him. Dan says, what do you mean? Whoa, what the? Says Dan. Faye is saying, stop it. Dan says, Faye? Dan, Midori, run. Hurry. Dan says, yikes. So Faye broke through his carbonite encasing. Faye took his gear well tall and went in search of Zohar. We followed his trail. Eventually we arrived at the location where Zohar had fallen to Earth so very long ago. Nothing could have prepared us for what we were about to see there. Oh my. Seems I have to use some of these undesirable elements. Titan says, what is that? Titan says, this must be the place. Wait for me, this is as far as you can come, says Id. From here on, it's my world, you can't enter. What do you mean, says Faye. Id says, you're a subordinate, you're a fake persona, that's why. Faye says, a subordinate? A fake persona? Id says, yes, he has part of my memories from back then. He has sealed away the very meaning of my existence, my drive, my motivation, my subconscious, id. Because of that, I became a basic blank persona, and on top of that, I constructed a new persona based on my experiences since then. That is what you are now. Him? You mean father? You call him father? He who never did anything for you? It was because of his cowardly behavior. If only he had been able to protect me. If he had done that, Mother wouldn't have died. Didn't my mother die right after I was born? What really happened to my mother? Tell me, Id. You don't need to know, you'll only disappear soon, along with your basic persona, the coward. I'll rule my being through the power of the existence. Of course, you don't know, but it is etched into my metempsychotic memory. Your persona is fake, so you'll never stand on stage of consciousness. You'll never be able to take charge of the memories from our past lives. I know the dreams and hallucinations. I've seen them many times. I showed them to you on purpose. To break the seal, I chose to weaken the power of your existence. If your mental energy is weakened, I can become free to do as I wish. What? There are still things inside you which you haven't been shown yet? Huh? Someone's coming. It's probably your friends. They must have followed me. Where are you going? I came to re-establish contact with the existence, to tie together all the threads of your memories since ancient times, and then cut them off. That is the fate of the contact. All is ready. It's time for the true awakening. I will eliminate all those who were full of hypocrisy from the very beginning. Wait for me, Id. You just stay and observe. Titan says, what is this? Titan says, Faye, that must mean this is Weltal's transformed appearance. And that would be the Zohar. It appears Wise Man has interrupted the battle. He says, are you okay? Titan says, Wise Man. Wise Man says, it's already too late. Assist me, for I am about to exterminate Id. Wiseman says, Zohar is Deus Core. The slave generators in ether, it's the source of all their energy. After attaining its power, the freshly awakened Id intends to annihilate this world. The contact with Zohar was meant to have been done after the unifying of Faye's true personality. Wiseman says, keep back. Id says, "You again. You're always getting in my way, but I cannot be stopped by you. You who couldn't even protect his own wife and son. You cannot even bear to show your face to your son. That's why you wear a mask, isn't it, Khan?" Citan says, "Son?" Wiseman stays silent, and Id says, "That's right, this man is Faye's, no I mean, my father, Khan Wong." Khan says, "What happened to Faye, Id?" Id says, "Too bad. The new personality of Faye that you gave birth to, and all that work that your persona did to make him one perfect unified whole has been wasted. He will be swallowed up by me." Khan says, "I won't permit it. I'll destroy you first." Id says, "As if you could, sissy. Mother died because of your cowardly behavior, and as a result, he ran away from that reality by entering into his memories. And now I continue my existence bearing all that hatred. You wouldn't be able to imagine what it's like." Khan says, "I wasn't simply working to unify Faye's personality, you know. All that you and I feel, the sadness, the hatred, even though he also experienced such things, Faye needed to be encouraged to build himself up in order to be able to comprehend all of this. Faye should be able to understand all of your feelings now, but now you want to erase the one who understands you, to kill Faye. What is it that you want?" Id says, "Why ask me such a thing now? My purpose is the same as his, total destruction, that and that alone." Khan says, "Is this world so bad a place that there is only hatred inside of you?" Id says, "You're the ones who made me this way. You and that woman. Admit it." He starts attacking Wise Man. Khan says, "Faye, can you hear me? Please take this fist full of memories I'm giving you. Become one with yourself and with me." Citan says, "Faye, where did the real you go? Remember, were you not going to help Ellie?" Yes, this is inside Id, a world filled with hatred and sadness. That's all that's here. Yes, now I understand, Id, why you hate the world. Why there's nothing inside you, nothing. Nothing was given to you. You've been deprived of all the happy memories, and yet it feels pleasant. It almost feels good. Now I get it. There's no need to resist. I was originally just an existence that was created as a cover to hide Id. So it would be better to return to that place. Let's come together to wipe away everything, including ourselves. Remember, were you not going to help Ellie? Ellie, that's right. Ellie. Faye says, "I've got to save Ellie." What is this place? What's he done now? He only called you in here for his own sake. This is inside the shell of your basic character, the room of the coward. I'm sure you've been here many times before. I see. I remember now, in my dreams. Everything despised and unwanted he pushed onto me, while he shut himself up in his own little shell, the coward Faye. The basis for our personalities. Who are you? You're my... Hey, let's watch this together. This is my most treasured possession. Ha! By repeatedly replaying the times he was full of happiness, he lives in his own happy little world. While I'm still alive only because of what's in those leftover dregs. Here, I'll show you everything about me. Ours was an ordinary family, a strict but reliable father, a kind and loving mother. Up until then, it was complete happiness. But one day, Mother suddenly changed. She was like a totally different person. From that day on, Faye lost his home. Father was away often. He had some important work. When Father was away from home, Faye was taken to a place with mysterious machines. Inside there were many strangely dressed people. Many types of probes were injected into Faye's body as the start to some kind of experiment. The tests caused Faye much pain. Mother didn't come to his assistance. Young Faye had no way of resisting, but he was able to endure. Eventually, the experiments became unbearable. Many people gathered around Faye. Those people had a high compatibility with the anima relics. This psychic contact with Faye was to force him to awaken. But no one could make contact with Faye. The power drawn out of Faye, regardless of his will, destroyed them all. This is unbelievable. Mother allowed this to take place? Psychic contact? What do you mean by awaken me? To awaken God, everything had to be in perfect order with nothing lacking. Things divided in the past must become one complete whole again. Countless people died before Faye's eyes. Men, women, the old, the young, even demi-humans. Suffering, grief, fear, ecstasy, a variety of emotions and words lingered. They tumbled about Faye like broken dolls. It was a scene from hell. In front of Father, she acted normally. When Faye tried to tell Father about Mother's strange conduct and the experiments, Father's mind was taken up by his work, and he didn't really listen. He thought it was just childhood fantasies, but he didn't have to endure the pain much longer. Faye's subconscious discovered a way to escape from the trauma. He formed a separate persona to deal with things he couldn't like or couldn't bear. He removed himself out of harm's way. My role was to have all the things he hated forced upon me the moment they arose. From the time of my division from him, I was dominated by hatred. That hatred naturally turned into destructive impulse. I wanted to destroy everything. Mother, Father, the entire world. Finally, Father noticed Mother's odd behavior, but it was already too late. I'd completely separated from that coward, my original self. The puppets were broken, and Faye's heart was too weak. What would make Mother do such a thing? Mother repeated the experiments to study the power she knew existed within me. Yes, that woman, Mother, was Miang. That's a lie. No, it's true. Mother was Miang. Khan says that's right. Karen had become Miang. Seitan says, what is that you say? Khan says it's nothing special. Miang does not have only one host body. Miang's roots are sealed in the genes of all women. Any one of them could become Miang. Id says it just happened to be Mother's turn. Only Ellie was special originally. Khan says no. Khan says Karen, as Miang, noticed that Faye's memory time axis had increased 2 or 3-fold. She then became convinced that Faye was the contact. Seitan says, contact? Yes, I was the contact. That's why he called out to me. And why time had come. Stop it. Cut it out. Dad. Dad. Mom, help Dad. Hey, Mom, why aren't you helping him? Dad, Dad's gonna die. Graf came seeking the power that exists within me, to return to his own body. You understand now, don't you? Graf is Lacan. We, his descendants, who inherited his lingering thoughts and memories from him, know only too well. Divided 500 years ago, he would become a part of us both. Lacan became Graf. He destroyed everything on the face of the earth. He then mastered how to possess the bodies of others by dwelling in their minds. He was probably enabled to do this after his contact with the Existence. The bodies died, but Lacan's spirit continued living by possessing others. He had come that day to return his soul, at last, to the perfect reincarnation of his physical body, the body of Faye. Father had fought him, but he couldn't protect Mother or I. He pitifully fought while coughing up his life blood. Graf made a mockery of Father, and Mother would not even help him when he needed her the most. As for their son, he couldn't take what was happening anymore. He gave in to his feelings and released this power. As a result, Mother died. And he offloaded the results of his actions onto me. To avoid taking responsibility for killing Mother, he used me as a shield. I also killed Mother. He pushed all the bad things onto me, but kept all the memories filled with happiness and Mother's love to himself. He shut himself away with those memories inside his own little shell forever. This is the place. What you see before you is what he made. He just keeps hanging on to those memories. That's what this is. Faye says, stop it. Just stop it. This scene, these scenes, are these all there is to us? Enough already. There's nothing here, just a world filled with deception and pain. It can't be helped. This is our world. This is our everything. Khan says, I was a fool. It was all my fault. I was so busy with my duties in Shivat that I didn't notice Karen had changed. I couldn't save you when you needed my help. Id says, save me? Ha! Why bother saying such nonsense now? It's not going to change anything. The only thing you can do now is die by my hand. Khan says, ugh, even still, I'll show you that I can save you. Dad, stop it, Id. Father's done nothing wrong. I know, this one's the real culprit. Mother and Father had no choice. Thanks, pass it back to me. I'm playing with Mother. This is not reality. It's all lies. It's all fake. It's all a trick. All of it. Get out. This is my room. I thought you would always be with me. Why won't you see reality? Happiness, sadness, aren't all parts that combine to make the whole? Why won't you show him? Why don't you also show Id what you always watch? No, that's mine. I don't want to show it to the person who killed Mother. You should talk. You're the one who killed Mother. No, I didn't. You did. I did not kill her. Mother didn't care for you. Father didn't notice either. That's why you killed her. I didn't kill her. I didn't. Knock it off. We killed Mother. It's no one's fault but ours. It's not because she became Miang or because Father didn't notice. Don't look outside for the reason. Don't blame anyone but yourself. Yes, Mother was Miang, and I know that you suffered. No one could have endured it. But you can't push it onto it alone. We are all one person. We must all become one. Right, Faye? Walk on your own 2 feet. Face up to the reality that you don't want to see. Show them to Id everything you took for yourself. Lies, that woman, the scene, all illusions. My consciousness can see through this trick. I won't be swayed. Id, that's enough. Doing that isn't gonna solve anything. Mother saved us at the last moment. That's the truth, right? The reality isn't all grim, Id. My power couldn't save anyone. It only destroyed. I thought that I could only make a connection with others through destruction. So I had to destroy it all. People, the world, even Ellie. Faye says, no, that's not the case. We can save others just as our mother, despite being Miang, saved us. Our power can save people. We can save Ellie. That's a first. Mother being so warm. To me, she almost seems too warm. Faye, take the memories I have within me. You must know what it used to be like up until now. Know our identity. Know who we are. Figure out what ought to be done. Our integration is not yet complete. Eliam gets attacked by Cain, and she says, Abel, live. Ellie again says, I can't hand our child over to you, as Emeralda's in the test tube. Live. There's Sophia saying, Lacan, live. If God doesn't exist in our world, then we'll create him, or whatever. Lacan says, what is this place? My execution site? Lacan continues, why do you turn on me? I thought we were friends. Lacan says, who is it? Did I cause this? What happened to me? What have I become? Lacan says, I will live. Even if I go to hell, I'll live until the end of this world. And if the world dies... if the world does not come to an end, I will destroy it with my own hands. That's Lacan as graph. Faye. Who is it? Who's calling me? I am Har. What is this light? I reside in Zohar. I'm the beginning and the end, the first and the last. God? God? Some could refer to me as that. From a certain point of view, it is right to view me as such, but at the same time, I am not. I'm also a part of you. A part of me? I'm defined by how people observe me. You are actually talking to a virtual version of me that you yourself create. I am your perception of me. I don't understand what you're talking about. Who or what are you? In one word, existence. Existence? In actuality, I do not have a physical form. I am an existence of a higher dimension. A place you cannot perceive, but in terms you understand, it's a world where everything acts as kind of waves. It's the source of this four-dimensional universe, the place where time and space is controlled, the fluctuating void, the wave existence. What does such an existence have to do with me? Long ago, a modifier, or a pseudo-perpetual infinite energy engine was created. That engine was named Zohar. That reactor was created by an ancient people from another planet to attain what is considered to be the ultimate energy possible within this four-dimensional universe. Eventually, those people used that same engine to create the ultimate interplanetary invasion weapon Deus. Zohar was used as its primary source of power. But the unexpected happened. During the connection tests of Zohar with the newly completed Deus, the engine started to examine infinite potential phenomena. Requiring energy, the engine connected this dimension to the higher dimensional space. As a result, that reactor merged or synchronized with the wave existence in that higher dimension, also known as me. I descended from the point of contact, created by the machine through the path of Seraphat, or the domain you are in right now, and incarnated in the four-dimensional world. After I advented to the four-dimensional world in order to stabilize myself here, I had to exchange or materialize my form and enter into the modifier engine. In other words, I became bound in Zohar, the cage of fleshly existence. Since the time I was bound in Zohar, I have always wanted to return to my own dimension, and I came to a conclusion. I had to reverse the process I went through to arrive here. I must be released by the one who instilled within me a special feature of this dimension, the will. That one is you. Decided it was me, a special feature? Yes. I was given a special attribute of a human by you, the contact. When you observed me, I was given a mother's will. Faye says, a mother's will? The existence says, I'm sure you remember, after my descent, you had contact with the modifier engine Zohar. As a contact, being but only a child, you defined my existence with your desire to return to your mother. Thus, I came to prepare the mother's will. That will is Eliam. Ellie's disposition was influenced by me? Yes, my will was incarnated through a biocomputer, which was vital for Deus. After combining with me, the biocomputer evolved its functions, and that bioplant generator a central element that is her. I was split by your contact. My physical form, or flesh, stayed in Zohar, while my will went into Eliam, and my power went into you. That's why I waited to unite with you, and now it is fulfilled. My only remaining desire is to break this cage of fleshly existence. In order to do that, I must become perfect by combining with Eliam as well as my other split physical form, Deus. The only way to return to my original dimension is to destroy this physical body. In the four-dimensional world, Zohar is perfect, so in order to destroy Zohar, I need the strength that was attributed to you. Zohar can only be destroyed by the hands of the contact. What about Ellie? If Zohar is destroyed, what will become of her? Zohar and Deus are one. She is bound to the system by another's will to become one with me. In order to release her, it is necessary to destroy that very system that serves as the Deus weapon. However, having been created as a weapon, the Deus system seeks to unify itself with all of you for a different purpose than that of mine. Originally, her release should have been performed by me, the one who desires to return back to the higher dimension. But I am also bound to the system just as she is, so I am unable to participate. You are the only one who can release her from the spell. Just as Deus and I are inseparable, you and her are also inseparable. Alright, I'll destroy Deus and the Zohar modifier, and I'll save Ellie. The existence says, you have experienced much loss and deprivation in your life. It is very tragic. Our contact and the resulting transference of power and will between you and I most likely played a factor in splitting your personality. Faye says, I disagree. I can't blame anything or anyone besides myself. Regardless of what may have happened in the past, with the passing of time, the cause becomes more remote. It's a problem that comes from within myself that I must myself deal with. The existence says, I see. You've managed to accept those tragedies, to tolerate all things, to comprehend and find where you stand in this world. If you have succeeded to do these things, I'm sure you'll succeed in what awaits you now, to liberate all of us. Use the Xenogears. Destroy Zohar. Wait, there's more I need to ask. The system is awakening. Ask her later. And I'm gonna stop there.